Russia and China are on the verge of sealing deals worth $5.5 billion, covering energy, infrastructure and telecoms. Prime Minister Vladimir Putin is in Beijing to entice the country's business leaders to invest in Russia in exchange for oil and gas. Let's get more from our correspondent Anissa Nawi, who is in the Chinese capital now. So, Anissa, there's a lot riding on these deals, aren't there? We are talking big bucks.
We are indeed talking big bucks. Like you said, it's expected that deals will be signed in the capacity of over $5 billion by the end of this visit. Already, we've seen a slew of agreements between China and Russia just signed. Just to give you an idea of some of those in the energy sphere, we've seen preliminary gas deals for a gas pipeline which will bring natural Russian gas to China in the capacity of 7 billion cubic meters a year. In terms of security, we saw a major agreement, both countries agreeing that they will notify one another when any launch of a ballistic missile takes place. And the Prime Minister Vladimir Putin did already comment on this, saying that this was a very important step for China and Russia. They both are, of course, members of the UN Security Council, so we saw dialogue and lots of cooperation on international diplomacy, especially concerning what we were just hearing about with Clinton in Moscow, which is Iran's nuclear program and North Korea's nuclear program. So a lot of work being done on this first day here in Beijing. It's a 3-day visit being wrapped up with a night of celebration, celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relations, which, by the way, were said by the Chinese Prime Minister tonight, Putin's counterpart, that they need to keep growing just as nicely as they've grown over the past 60 years.
So they will be also discussing how their respective economies will move forward as major global players. In what ways can they achieve that goal?
Well, it might not be something that we hear so much about. Certainly, China and Russia very much understand that what happens in the U.S. very much affects their economies and therefore the dollar. There's been rumors that China, Russia, and especially Arab Gulf states are thinking about slowly but surely dumping the dollar as their currency for oil transactions. Something that Russia has been interested in for a long time is, of course, finding perhaps a new world reserve currency. So this is something that we could hear spoken about. China and Russia obviously understand that being so connected to the dollar might have gotten us into this crisis. It looks like the world is slowly getting out of it, and therefore they need to discuss how to prevent situations like that in the future.
Anissa Nawi, thank you very much. Our correspondent Anissa Nawi, who is in the Chinese capital. Thank you very much.